All right, let's talk. We're about to tackle one of the biggest, most pervasive myths out there in the creative world. This is going to be your new blueprint, a fresh way to think about creating work that has real purpose and actually makes an impact.
I mean, you've heard this a million times, right? Quantity over quality. It's the go-to mantra of hustle culture. Just post more, ship more, create more. It's hammered into our heads like it's the only way to succeed.
Okay, but what if that's a trap? What if all that well-meaning advice is actually leading you down a path to total burnout and making less of an impact, not more? That's the big question we're going to dig into today.
So, let's dive into our first section here. The more is better myth. We're going to really pull this idea apart. Because even though it sounds good on the surface, its foundation is, well, let's just say it's pretty shaky.
You know, the whole creator economy basically runs on this super alluring promise, right? The more stuff you put out there, the more success you'll have. It feels so simple, so controllable. And that's exactly why it's so incredibly tempting to fall for.
But, and this is a big but, there's a dark side. There are hidden costs to this hustle trap, and believe me, they add up. Yeah, creator burnout is the obvious one, but what about audience fatigue? That's a sneaky one. People don't always hit unsubscribe, you know? They just stop caring. They tune out, your impact gets watered down, you start seeing diminishing returns, and you're just left wasting time and mental energy. It's a rough cycle.
Okay, so that sounds pretty bleak. But the good news is there is absolutely a way out of this trap. And escaping it doesn't mean you have to work less. No, not at all. It's about working smarter. It's about working with real intention.
So, really, you're at a crossroads. You've got two paths in front of you. On one side, there's mindless production. That's the content treadmill we were just talking about. It leads straight to burnout, audience fatigue, the whole deal. But on the other side, you've got deliberate creation. And that is the path to sustainable growth, a super engaged audience, and an influence that actually lasts.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hold on a second. What about all the top performers? They produce a ton of stuff, and you're not wrong. But here's the secret. What looks like a crazy high volume is actually kind of an illusion. There's a much smarter strategy happening behind the curtain.
So, what is the secret sauce? How do these top creators seem to be everywhere, putting out consistently high-quality work and not completely burning out? I'll tell you right now, it is not about working around the clock. It's about a whole different kind of efficiency. Okay, so here's a peek inside their playbook. They're not waking up and trying to come up with a dozen brand new ideas every single day. No way. They're taking one great core idea and strategically repurposing it across different platforms. They're creating evergreen content, the kind of stuff that stays relevant and keeps working for them for months, sometimes even years. The bottom line is, they're focused on work that makes a real impact, not just busy work to fill the schedule.
And all of this brings us right to the heart of this whole thing, the pillars of deliberate creation. This is the framework. This is how you make that crucial shift from just mindlessly producing stuff to creating something truly meaningful.
And it all, I mean all of it, starts with what we call strategic input. This is the absolute foundation. Think of it as the polar opposite of just hitting record and winging it. It's about defining your purpose, really understanding your audience, and outlining your message before you even think about creating. It's the deep work up front that makes sure what you create actually lands with purpose.
So let's break it down into a super simple 3-step process. Step 1, define your purpose. That's your strategic input, setting those clear goals. Step 2, iterate thoughtfully. This means you're constantly refining, editing, and, this is key, actively seeking out feedback. And then, step 3, release with impact. You're using post-production, your launch plan, everything to maximize quality. See? It's a deliberate workflow, not just some random creative whim.
And if you want to see this in the real world, just look at someone like MrBeast. His insane success is no accident, believe me. It is built on relentless improvement, that's pillar 2, iteration. It's built on strategic collaboration, and he has this laser focus on the impact his videos have on the viewer. It's all part of a super, super deliberate workflow.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually apply this stuff to your own work? Let's get practical. Let's talk about mastering your creative rhythm.
I love this metaphor because it really says it all. It's time to trade that content treadmill for a creative compass. Stop just running and running to keep up. Instead, pick up that compass and let your purpose, let your intended impact be your guide. Let that decide your direction, not the pressure to just fill another slot on the calendar.
All right, here's something you can use immediately, a personal quality audit. Before you hit publish on your very next project, just pause and run it through these 3 simple questions. What's the core purpose here? Where can I improve it? And how can I boost its impact? Seriously, just answering these honestly is your first huge step toward creating more deliberately. And what this really represents is a fundamental shift in how you look at your calendar. The old way is just about filling slots, right? Checking boxes. The new way is about prioritizing impact. Your calendar becomes a strategic plan where you give the projects with the biggest potential the time and attention they truly deserve. Because that is the roadmap. That's how you become a purpose-driven, prolific creator. The goal isn't just to be busy, it's to be prolific with a point. This framework isn't really about creating less. It's about making sure that every single thing you do create counts. It's about building a body of work that actually has a lasting influence. So I want to leave you with one final question to think about. Forget about your massive, overwhelming to-do list for just a second. Of everything you have going on, what is the one single project that truly deserves your deliberate focus this week? What's the one thing that could make the biggest difference? Find that thing and start there.